Hello, and welcome to another episode of FilmBhais. This is episode 5, and today we'll be finally concluding our analysis of S.S. Rajamouli's RRR. This has been an epic journey for us. You will hear that we get a little bit tired towards the end of this episode because at this point we had been speaking for almost 4 hours, so energy was waning. But we did it, we got through as much of it as we could. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank all of you that have commented, liked, and shared these videos. The response to the series was far more than we had ever expected. All of your comments have been incredibly insightful, and it's clear to see that the fans of RRR were as engaged with analyzing this movie as we were. What was also nice to see was that all the comments were incredibly polite and respectful, and this gives us hope that we are attracting the type of people who, like us, believe in loving, understanding, and celebrating art and not simply criticizing and dismissing them. So, once again, thank you for that.
And without further ado, let's start the episode.
I mean, this is probably the part of the movie that I was a bit whatever about, is when the rescue of Bheem happens. What do you think about the scene? I don't really have much to say about this part.
I like the scene in terms of how action played out and everything else, and I was quite happy with it.
Mm.
But yeah,
Too many coincidences, man. I think that's where it kind of took it away from me. It was just the whole. Yeah. So first of all, Roger can survive anything. Apparently, freaking hell! Like, I swear he got his lungs and spine punctured a couple of times in the scene. Like when that tree branch like digs into him, I was like, oh, he's dead. He's clearly dead. There's no way he's going to survive this. He got stabbed in the back with the biggest branch I've ever seen in my life. But he's fine. It's like, yeah, I don't know. That scene was okay for me. I wasn't taken like overboard. Let me put it this way. That's the scene I have never rewatched again. Like just the scene by itself. All the other scenes in the film I've rewatched once or twice, but that's the scene I was like, yeah, whatever, kind of thing. Again, the Scott guy jumping up and grabbing the gun. Too much.
yeah, I didn't like that. I
Yeah.
didn't like that.
I think they just wanted to show that he's not just a random bad guy. He also has skills, so he's like a formidable foe. But the way they showed that, it was a bit awkward.
Yeah, and it was a bit late. Yeah, I didn't really do much early, but I did quite like creative sense of what you thought about it, and then how he decided that we should do it in the open, and then at the same time we should bring Marley there.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, because remember it's like, yeah, you may not like the scene as much, but still you can see the workings.
Of course.
He's always
Yeah.
thinking, he's always bringing it forward, and because I was would have thought, so how else are you going to choose? What, he's just going to go, escape and then go back, and come on, it's the entire British Empire you're trying to fight. You don't think they're going to be ready for you? So
Exactly.
rather than doing that, like, no, bring her
Yeah.
in there, and it also shows, I guess, that Ramcharan can also think ahead and try and come up with some unique ideas and try and see how things could plan out. So he's really doing that. So they both are good thinkers and all that stuff. So it makes sense on the way they did that part and the way he gets away with it. And also he redeems himself in that scene though. Now I guess that's the main thing about that scene is he redeems himself by helping him, and then obviously Beam gets to see that this guy is a guy. He is on our side.
No, that's the thing. He doesn't. That was the sad part about that scene. Beam still thinks that he was about to shoot Molly in the freaking head.
Oh no, I get that part. But I'm saying, just for the moment where he saved him, like, because even when he goes to, because I guess after this is where he goes to, stay with the villagers, and then they escape, and then they meet Alia, and that's when he's more understanding because everything's spelled out.
Yeah, exactly. But this is the scene for the audience, I think, because this is the first time we see Ramcharan's character sacrifice for someone else. Because all through the film, always done things for himself, for selfish needs, for his mission or whatever. The first time we see him doing something for someone else, for sacrificing his mission for the first time, because he understands that his mission has changed slightly, and he sees that this might be Bhim's way, might be a better way of approaching this revolutionary fight than his way of just arming people. So yeah, that was quite interesting, and he takes all of the the British soldiers down in a very badass way. So that was a good part. I mean, the whole shooting that guy through Mali and Bheem, that was heartbreaking, man. Like Bheem was like, yeah, this son of a bitch is trying to shoot this kid in the head. What?
Yeah, but I guess the problem is also this comes back to the previous bit when he actually comes up with the idea. You see the look on Beam's
Yeah,
face when he
that's
hears
true.
Marley's name, like, "You
Exactly.
son of a!
Exactly. Yeah.
Why are you bringing a little girl?" I guess that's when you. I guess the thing is, whenever you try and bring a child into anything,
Mhm.
you're an asshole.
Yeah. 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 And I love that line by the Scott character. He goes, "You've started to think like the Empire, my boy," and just kind of make the British look like the worst villain in the world. It's like, yes, that's what I would have done. Yes, let's include the child. That's the best way to do this. We approve of this message. It's yeah, it's very very dark and evil in a very sadistic way. Okay, so after that, your favorite character comes in to the story.
Oh
We have
God.
the entrance of Alia Bhatt.
Okay,
Oh,
let's just
wait,
stop right there talking about the review and let's just say, was it not pointless? Okay, I don't know how you feel about this, and I'm gonna go into a rant.
go on.
This movie is not a Bollywood movie.
No,
It's a South Indian movie.
yeah.
Okay, you added in Ajay Devgan. Fair enough, you added in a. What was the point of Alia? And I hate to say it, I don't have no dislike for Alia Bhatt. In some
Yeah, I think
movies,
it's
she's
fine.
okay. I really liked her in Highway. I
Yeah,
thought
I
she was wonderful in Highway.
Dear Zindagi. I liked her in Dear Zindagi. I actually liked Dear Zindagi. I know a lot of people think it's a crap film. I think it was
See, I
fine
didn't
film.
watch that, so I couldn't really comment on that one. But what was the point?
Okay, if you want to get to that, what was the point of any woman in this movie, dude?
No, no, no. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about Alia Bhatt. Forget the woman. I'm like, what's the point of it?
No, she
Even
was
I just
exposition. She was there
no,
to
no.
bridge the
I
story
get
between
that. But I'm
Ram
saying
and that.
that
That's it. That was the
exposition
point.
could have been by any female actor.
Oh, you mean casting Alia Bhatt?
Yeah.
Oh no, casting was more like I mean because I heard the story. I think Alia Bhatt bumped into Rajamouli in an airport one day, and she ran up to him and was like going, "I'm a big fan, sir. Can I just be in your movie? I don't care what the role is, whatever role, please. I need to be in your movie." And Rajamouli's like, "Okay, dude, whatever," and cast her in the movie. That was it. That's pretty much the whole reason she was in the movie. She's just a fan of Rajamouli and wanted to do it. The weird thing is, I think Rajamouli auditioned Alia Bhatt for this role as well because she's never really played a demure village girl. You know what I mean? Because she's a city girl. She grew up in a Bollywood actor legacy family. Maybe Rajamouli just
Yeah,
couldn't see her
Bollywood.
as.
She's rich.
Yeah, of course, she's very rich, and she's never actually done a village girl kind of character before. So Rajamouli wasn't quite convinced that she could pull it off, but
Mm.
fair dues to her, she did pull it off. And if you look at her in interviews, she's nothing like that character. So she did a good enough job. But I think whoever they cast in this movie, it would have been an exposition person. So you might as well cast someone who's going to get audience to watch this movie in north of India. You know what I mean? I think that was just Rajamouli's thinking behind it. It's like, let's just put some cameos in there. One could be Ajay Devgan, other one could be Alia, but we can put her on the poster, get a bunch of people from Bombay to watch this film.
You say that, but I still think it comes down to acting, bro. I guess um, I'm looking at it from a point of view that look, as long as you got someone who can have the conviction and the way they're saying stuff. Small parts, people have stolen movies, where people come like, this guy or this woman was in a scene and she stole the damn movie.
I guess so, but there was no opportunity, right? That movie was in that character was just telling the audience what the audience already knows.
Yeah,
Do you know what I
but they
mean?
know that. But even then, the expression, I just didn't buy her expressions, man. Like,
Oh,
eh,
okay. You're talking about her acting chops. Yeah, I didn't. I always saw her as Alia Bhatt. I never really bought her
that's what
in
I'm
as
saying.
a character. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Cast her B, she couldn't even pull it off, man.
Yeah, it's true. I think the mother of in the flashback when we see Raju's mother, I think she did a way better job of expressing a lot in a very short amount of time. So yeah, yeah. I mean, it didn't take me out of the film. Let's put it that way.
Well,
It was
this
just
way,
fine.
all I saw in this was it was Ali about just being more restrained.
Yeah, exactly. She had to
But
be because
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. She's just downplaying herself.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah, that was the role, though.
Yeah, no. The role was a village girl who's longing to see her lover.
Yeah.
I never got that, and the thing is, you can get that from a lot of movies. I guess my thing is this: I don't know, anyone who's listening to this, put that in the comment section. When I saw this movie, and when I'm seeing this actor, this particular character in it, I think it should have been what's her name, Ashwarya Rajesh. She should have been. I can picture her pulling that character off. I guess the movie I'm going back to is one that she did with Vijay Sethupathi. Kapai Rangasingam. She did that with Vijay Sethupathi, which was really good. She did another one where she was a cricket player. I can't remember what his name.
So she's an established actor then, right?
Yeah. She's made quite a few
But that's the
movies.
thing. She might not have done a cameo because if you're getting a big actor, and they would be like, "Why the hell would I waste my time in a
Oh
tiny?"
no, she
Yeah.
would have. She would have. I mean, she's done smaller roles in
Okay.
movies, but it's just I think her acting chops would have been so much better. I mean, I could just see her as a village girl. She could have she pulls off those sort of scenes anyway. And but I didn't buy Alia. Like I said, I just saw Alia try and downplay herself. It's just the sensibilities and just
The
little quirk.
mannerism. Yeah. I
Yeah,
know.
he didn't have none of that, man. I'm just like,
Mhm.
even when she was talking to stores, doing the whole explanation, I'm like, I'm not even seeing the sadness there.
Yeah. She does force herself to cry at the last minute when she tells that he's gonna be hanged, and that crying made no sense. But yeah, at that stage, I didn't really care, man. I was like, yeah, I'm fully into this movie, so I was like, yeah, whatever. Alia, just say your thing and leave the scene, just so these two bros can get together again.
Yeah,
I
that's
want the
what I'm
bromance
saying.
more than the
That's my
romance.
sentiment. It's like, go.
Yeah, pretty much, pretty much. She was barely in the film for like 15 minutes, man. If you like take all the scenes together, so it didn't really
Yeah,
bother me
like,
too much.
even that 15 minutes. When you're just like, I can't watch this movie for this particular scene.
Yeah,
I just
yeah,
need.
bro.
It's
Just
like the
fast
same
forward it.
reason why I can't watch Kabhi Khushi Kabhie Gham anymore.
Oh, yeah, no, I haven't seen that movie in
Can't
like
put up with
over
man. I'm
2 decades.
sorry.
Jesus, no, that movie is too melodramatic for me. I mean, maybe it was fine
Yeah,
back in the day, but it doesn't work anymore. But
yeah, that's,
okay, I think we might have missed one other scene, which was when we go back to see Raju in the prison cell.
mm,
So, when after lots of time has passed, and they're like, "Oh, we've only been feeding him for a week. He would be a shell of a man." That was the second time I got a bit of a Last Airbender feel to it. So do you know what scene I'm talking about?
when he's in the when he's
Uncle
doing
Eo?
the.
Yeah. So in
Hmm.
Last Airbender, Uncle Io or Eo, I've forgotten how they pronounce the name, and there was a scene where he's in prison by the Fire Nation, and they see him as this, oh, you used to be this great warrior, you're nothing now, and they're basically feeding him like scraps, and then he takes off his shirt, and we realize he's been working out all this time, and we see him do a one-hand pull-up while he's in the
Yeah,
prison. That scene was such a badass scene in The Last Airbender, and they do that exact same thing here. And they also do that, they had to bring a bit of Gita in there. There's a famous Gita line, which is, you have the right to your action, but never to the fruits of your action. And I love that inclusion of that. That just shows that he's going to keep working towards his mission until he
hmm
has no breath left in him. So that's why
yeah,
his makes so much sense in the context of that. It's like, yeah, you think I'm down and out, but it's not over until it's over kind of attitude. I love that part. And then that was the only other allusion to the Last Airbender I can remember. And after that, the Alia Bhatt scene happens, and then we do the prison break. And I don't really have much to say about this movie towards the end because it was just two great action sequences. I mean, there's nothing more to say. There were just two badass action sequences that I loved.
yeah. Nah, you can't go wrong with the action sequences. The only I said I had two criticisms about this movie. One was
Yeah.
Ali, but and I'm pretty sure even whoever's listening won't be happy with me saying that about Ali, but
I don't think that's too controversial. It's fine. He can say that.
The other thing was, come on, man. I get you wanting to put some gravity onto the injuries,
Yeah.
but this is where I just think, as I was saying, Rajamouli was thinking about the story and making sure it all worked and all that stuff.
Hmm.
But here it's like, come back to the disbelief.
The legs thing. The legs were broken.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. Yeah. That was ridiculous.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, unless you were thinking purely from a set piece, where like
Yeah.
it'd be great if you, uh, did this scene. Well, how are we going to introduce this? Well, we need to make sure he damages his legs. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's the explanation for that. But then you're like, but then
2 minutes later, he's
yeah,
fine. No, to be fair, Bheem does put some random leaves and stuff on his knees, and Raju rests for like half an hour or something, and apparently the leaves are magic leaves, and it fixes his knees back to normal. I mean, look, dude, in like Dark Knight or Dark Knight Rises, Bane breaks Batman's spine at one point,
mm,
and he fixes that spine with a couple of push-ups in the prison. So whatever. By this stage, I've seen these two do so many ridiculous things. I'm like, yeah, sure. I guess his legs are fine now. I didn't even care at this stage. I was like, yeah, whatever. Makes sense.
now, but the other bits I bought though, because I'm like, okay, I'm seeing how it works, how you're playing it. This way, I was like, no, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at that stage, I just assumed that he was almost possessed by a higher power to complete the mission. Do you know what I mean? So it was almost like the gods were helping him. So the Greeks have this saying called the Deus Ex Machina, like the god
Mm.
comes in at the end and kind of fixes everything. So they were trying to show that level
Well, they
of
did show that, as they
trinity.
said, and I would like to say. So you
Yeah,
keep bringing back the last Airbender. Avatar, bro. Avatar,
yeah,
you see the Avatar on when he makes an entrance, and then you don't get to see his face. You just see like a silhouette outline, and you
exactly.
see the
He's a
light
symbol
shining.
at this
Yeah,
stage, not even him anymore. Yeah,
yeah.
but later on, I
That-
found out that's apparently how Alluri Sitaram Rao, the character that he's based on, used to dress during when he used to do his freedom fighting, uh, like guerrilla warfare thing, he used to
Mm,
dress like that. So it worked in both ways. So he was staying true to the character that this was based on, but
mm,
also drawing from the mythology of Ram. Because they literally take that bow and arrow from a statue of Ram, and they take that saffron flag from the temple and makes that into his garment. So they're working on both the levels simultaneously. So at this
yeah.
stage, they're yeah, it's completely over the top action at the stage. So if you're still asking, questioning the logic as an audience, you're not questioning it anymore. It's just whatever at this stage. But yeah, and then explosive action happens, and then we hear that line for one last time about the bullet. How much a bullet is worth, and this
Hmm.
time, Bheem is the one who does the shooting, which I like. It wasn't Raju who killed him; it was Bheem. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know how true this is. I've tried to pay attention to this movie, but it's not very clear. But I think Bheem only kills two people. I know he beats up a lot of people, but he only kills two people that we definitely know on screen. Both of them are the white characters. You know what I mean? Both of the
Mm,
ones who actually hurt his tribe. He doesn't indiscriminately go around killing people like Raju does. Like he only kills the people that he's actually there to kill. And then so it was quite a nice emotional way of tying everything together of him killing Scott and not Raju killing Scott. That was quite nice as well. And then obviously the cheesy ass scene after the sun never sets on the British Empire and the blood splatters on the word never. So the sun sets on the British Empire. And then the the flag thing happens. I fucking loved it. Loved it. So
yeah.
over the so not subtle, but I loved it.
Hey, man, they need to make the point.
Yeah. Yeah. In case anyone didn't get it. That was like the last bit. We're making a point here, guys. Point has been made. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's the whole movie, man. We actually made the podcast as long as the movie, so it's I'm not even surprised. I still have a lot more to say about this movie. There is
I
just
do, man. I mean, I got the whole,
yeah,
uh,
dude. I'll
that
actually do a
atmosphere.
commentary for this movie if you want. We can like pause every second of it and kind of go, oh
Let's
yeah,
see the reaction we get with this, and then we can add more. Because here's the thing:
up
I could do a whole um, analysis and comparisons with how much I didn't like Alia Bhatt being in this, to the point where, when you said she forced herself to cry,
Yeah.
if you look at Marley's acting there,
Oh my god. Yeah, that kid is amazing. That kid is amazing.
that kid shows more natural emotions than Alia did.
Yeah. Yeah. In much shorter time period as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's true, man. It's true. And that little kid reminded me of Nandita Das. You know the actress? Nandita Das? She's
Yeah.
like a little version of Nandita Das. So, it's kind of worked in that level as well, even though she reminded me of a better actor that I know, like adult version of an actor. This kid was like at that power of acting that I was like, yes, this kid is good. And you needed that kid to be good because she carries so much of the emotional weight of that film. Like, yeah, so if there is a good reception to the way we have analyzed this movie, I know if anyone's lost it this long in the podcast, well done, give yourself a cookie. But we can do a breakdown of literally every aspect of this movie, every scene, because there's so much stuff we haven't even touched on.
There is. I think the thing is, before we finish off, we just have to say, because we kept talking about themes.
Yeah.
One of the thing I really loved about this is, even though they're doing the climax scene, they still kept to the theme in terms of the water and fire, where he's fighting with fire and the whole forest is now on fire, and then Bheem is protected by the water because he's in the pond, and then he comes up. And I can't say anymore. There's similes, the symbolism, themes, the poetry, the storytelling.
Yeah.
Hats
But the
off
main
to
thing I want to get
Rant,
across is
man.
this movie is deeper than people would give it credit for on the first viewing. On the first viewing, it looks like action extravaganza with musical, over the top acting, over the top action, all of that stuff. Yes, sure, that's on the surface. Really engage with this movie at the way it's trying to tell a story. You're going to find so much depth and so much, how can I put this, care that has gone into making the story be as, I won't say realistic, obviously, because this movie isn't realistic, but its emotional realism is always there. And that I'm actually trying to do a video essay on this as well, but there is no Blu-ray or DVD available, so there's no way for me to get a good quality version of this movie. But when they do release a Blu-ray of this, I'm going to coin a term that I think Indian filmmaking needs to use more. So there is a term called magical realism. Have you heard about it? And yeah. So I think Indian film has a thing called spiritual realism, which is that it's not real, but it captures the spirit of the character, spirit of the man. Do you know what I mean? So it's the fire and the water is not really l- realistic in a literal sense, but it is spiritually true for that character to be that way. So the spiritual realism in this film is at a level that no other movie has ever come close to. The only one I can think of is Jet Li's The Hero. I don't know if you've seen that movie.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Hero is the only other film that I can think of. Where every time they tell the story, the whole cinematography and the lighting changes. The one goes from red to the blue to the white. That's the spiritual realism of that world. In the world when he's telling the story, every time he's telling a lie, it becomes completely
that's
red.
what I'm saying in terms of, as we were talking about, you know, combining two fictional characters that I never met and beginning. But yeah, you won't believe that in real world, and fair enough, it didn't happen. So it's fictional. But in the realm of this story, in this world, Rajamouli created a world that these two characters live in, and they are there together. And regardless of whether some bits are, realistic, some parts are, exaggerated, but within this world, it all comes together and is real.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's what it needs to do. And I think that's what most movies forget. It's like, they want to be grounded in real world. And then,
But like I said, no movie is real. You know what I mean? How can you make even a documentary is edited? You know what I mean? We're always trying to tell a story from our perspective. So we can't hold a film to those kind of restraint. Like, why should we? Art should not be restrained. You should tell a story whatever way is true to the story, and that's what Rajmouli has done in this. It's brilliant, man. We cannot say hi. I'm so glad you like this movie as much as I do, and even your criticisms weren't too bad. I would love to have a chat with someone who really hates this movie and would like to know why they might hate it. But yeah, I've not really met anyone like that. I know lots of people who have dismissed this movie as something lesser than, but I just don't think that's an appropriate way to approach an art like this. It should be
Well,
met
it
with
depends
respect.
on how people watch it. I mean, most people just watch it as escapism, going to thing, time pass. But
Yeah,
if you really like the storytelling, if you really like how characters play a part, I mean, I don't know why people don't like storytelling. There isn't a single person on this earth that never grew up with stories. I
of
mean,
course.
whether you read books or you didn't read books, I'm pretty sure everyone's mum told them a story.
Yeah. I think we've just become cynical, man. As a race, as a human race, as society, we have just become very cynical. We just not willing to live in our imagination anymore because I don't know why. I honestly don't know why. Because everything that we have around us, everything started off as someone else's imagination. Do you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
imagination should not be restrained. So we should completely free ourselves from strange barriers we're putting within ourselves on how stories should be told, how movies should be made, how music should be done, how people should live their life, all of that stuff.
See, you
Just
bring that
stop.
up. As I said before, there should be a segment that we do based on how remake should be done. But
Definitely.
then I think there's also episode that should be dedicated to how good storytelling should be done. And I'm not saying there's a right or wrong way because
Absolutely. This is our perspective. You know what I mean?
yeah,
What we like. Yeah.
exactly. And I think I've always had this feeling where some movies that I've seen could have made a whole lot of sense if they were just told in a different way.
Absolutely. But again, because you have definitely seen more South Indian films, Indian films in general, more than I have, I think, recently. You can
Mhm.
introduce me to a couple of them, and it'll be a new experience for me to see something for the first time. And then, because you would have probably seen it a couple of times, you would have had a different, experience of it. So it'll be good to compare what it was like for me to watch it for the first time, and for you to revisit and why you like something, and then compare
Okay.
it. Yeah, because again, they're doing some amazing work all across India in very, very different ways. Like I know a lot of people who probably haven't seen a Indian film since Kabhi Khushi Kabhie Gham, DDLJ, all of that stuff, and then so much has changed since then. And I know Lunchbox, for example, that was a
Oh,
big hit. Masan was a big hit, and I think Berlin and in Cannes. So people are getting some really different experiences of what Indian film is capable of, and India is Look, India's too big. Like if you literally go, 10, 20 miles on any direction in India from any city, you will reach a place that speaks a different language, has a different culture, has different food, has different tradition. And it's impossible to capture India in one industry or one way of storytelling. We tell stories very, very differently. And the best thing is to meet that piece of art at their own terms and not try to impose our own Western ideas
yeah,
about how film should be made, how stories should be told.
exactly. But I think this is the great time to say anyone who's listening to this, if you liked what you heard, then look, we are movie lovers and we like to talk about more stuff. So anything that you think that didn't get enough attention and you would point out why it didn't get enough attention and what your perspective is and you would like us to
Mhm.
discuss it and put our opinion on it,
Mhm.
feel free to put it around in the comment section and we would definitely like to watch it. Even if we don't even, talk much about it because it might not be much. I would love to know other people's recommendations because there
Mhm.
are so many other movies that even I haven't seen. And I would love to be amazed by introduced to new content.
Absolutely. And on that note, let's say goodbye until the next episode.
Yep.
Peace.
Thanks. Bye.
पिक्चर अभी भी बाकी है भाई
This will be a long ass episode. This will be already recorded an hour of it, and we haven't even gone past the opening sequence, dude.
Bro, we can't make this into a Lord of the Rings marathon, bro.
I mean, we're just respecting Roger Mooney, man. He didn't start the movie until 40 minutes in. We won't even start the podcast until 2 hours in. That's our style. Oh, so
Oh god, remember, people have attention spans, bro.
huh?
People have an attention span. I'm not sure if we can take the risk.
That's fine. I don't care. I have so much love for this movie. I need the world to know about this. This is like. I mean, we should respect when someone does something right. I think we are so quick to criticize. Every time someone does something bad, let's talk about things when someone does something beautiful, man. I mean, this is capturing lightning in a bottle kind of thing. So I'm completely okay talking about this. The real fans of RRR will spend 2-3 hours with it. It's okay. For those guys, we were going to put this little conversation not in the podcast, but right at the end. That's a bit of an Easter egg for you to see if you reached it. If you did, leave a comment and a like and subscribe. Give to our Patreon, etc., etc. Anyway,
Yep.
okay. So we've gone past the opening sequence.